Yeah, I love Windows Phone, and you know that. But I don't know. Like, is my girlfriend gonna get one? I don't know. She uses a bank that doesn't even have an app on Windows Phone, and that's not like a huge deal for me. But I don't know.
I think it depends on the apps. It depends definitely on whether developers pick up the platform. Dude, they just announced Android support. Well, Android porting.
Support, yeah, porting. Yeah, I kind of thought, like, the way some people, I don't know, I think we were, like, afraid they were going to, like, BlackBerry it, like, oh, Google Play Store or something, like, on Windows. But this, like, porting.
Dude, iOS. They've just done iOS. Objective-C coming to Windows 10.
Oh, it's amazing! I'm so excited. Now, I can. Leah, you can have this phone. You got Santander. It's gonna be here in like a week. Like, well, maybe in a week, but all your apps, they're coming right here, baby.
Hey everyone! This is the Win Better podcast for the week of May 1st, 2015, and it's our build special, and I hope you enjoyed that little intro we did there. Over the last month we were filming that. I hope you realise, even though we look the same, that was done on purpose, because we're professionals. We are professionals, come on.
Yes, I am very professional, as you can tell by what'll happen in about a minute and a half.
Sean, you've got to celebrate. Come on.
It's our build special.
This is everything I hoped it would be. Everything. I must also warn everybody that if the stream cuts out at any given moment, it's my fault because my PC is BSODing like crazy today.
That's blue screen of death for those that don't know.
Yeah, they all know, Sean. So if it cuts out, I mean, our audio podcast, our audio listeners probably that doesn't affect you because we'll just continue on offline, I guess. But
we appreciate our live listeners, but we know that a lot of you listen to the rebroadcast, and you will be just fine.
So yeah, a lot to talk about, and we've only got an hour to do it, so we might as well get started. Build happened this week, and
did it?
No. Build did happen this week, and Microsoft announced a lot of different things, and let's be fair, the first half of the day one keynote wasn't the most exciting. But then again, it is a developer conference, so we can't blame Microsoft for talking about Azure and other boring stuff. But then it picked up halfway through, and they started talking about Windows 10 and all these new developer languages from other platforms being easily ported to Windows 10, and it was amazing. It was a great time for everybody, developers, Microsoft watchers, and fans. So we're just going to talk for it today. There's not really a given sort of schedule, I guess. We're just going to talk about the announcements.
Yeah, I mean, I have the order for the announcements and everything, but it's
we have an order.
There are a few ones that are more important than others. I would say, I know I'm partying. The balloon setup that my girlfriend made worked perfectly, and all that stuff. And these only cost £1, and they did not work so well. But I think that while it's not going to fix everything, honestly, some of the announcements really are going to have long-lasting effects on Windows, and the biggest one is iOS and Android. There's no reason to argue that those aren't the best and most important news that we have here. So for those who haven't heard about this, at Build they announced that you will be able to port your code from, was it Java, C++, and those are heavily used in Android. And then for iOS, you can also port your code from Objective-C, and then with very little changes or tweaking, you are able to actually make a Windows app. There are some clarifications made in an article that we did based on Rudy's comments, a huge Windows developer, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, just kind of reaction. What do you think this is going to do for the Windows platform, Zach?
A lot. I feel. Well, I tell you what. It depends on whether Windows 10 takes off. If it takes off, developers will jump on this immediately, very quickly, because they have no other choice. If there's lots of people on Windows 10 and they can easily port their already existing apps, why wouldn't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I've tweeted with Rudy about this a little bit. He's been very Rudy. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so I don't want to offend him. Hune. He's
Yeah. I don't know.
He's amazing, and I just asked him a little bit of clarification on how simple it is to port apps and that sort of thing, and what that's really going to get us. And he said things like, I asked specifically banking apps, are those easily ported, and that sort of thing. And his response was that they're not simple, like banking apps aren't simple, but he thinks they can be easily ported in his opinion. And I trust him more than just about anyone when it comes to developing on the Windows platform. So it sounds to me like, they already did this once with Candy Crush, which is a very simple app, relatively speaking. They used the code, they converted it or whatever, you ported it and then added what they needed to, made it an app, and they did this all under our nose, which I love. I love that they did it like, oh, this isn't the future. We already did it. It already works. You just didn't even know about it. So I think that's great. And it worked well. And I think for a lot of apps, especially games, we're going to see a ton of porting. I don't know why you wouldn't. Especially, it might not make Windows fans the most happy, because I know that the UI might look a little more Android or iOS, depending on where you're porting from. But for a lot of people, they'd rather have the apps in general than not at all.
I'm hoping for better Twitter and Facebook apps.
Well, not better than Tweetium.
I don't use third-party apps. I just use the normal Twitter and normal. I'm boring. Really? I'm a boring person when it comes to apps.
You know what? I use Tweetium. It's got multi-account support. It's wonderful. I love it.
I don't use third-party apps. I just use the normal ones from the people who make the thing. But yeah, I'm hoping Twitter port over either their Android one, I guess, because it'd be easier to port for them. Their Android app to Windows Phone, because the current Windows Phone Twitter app is just shameful.
That's why we use Tweetium, Zach.
I don't use third-party apps. Leave me alone.
He's gonna be on the show in a few weeks. We need people to like him.
Hey, like him all you want. I just don't use third-party apps.
Whatever. So that's you. Sometimes I wonder about you, my friend. But let me get a few reservations here, I guess. These are from Rudy's bullet points. It says Android ported apps can only run on Windows 10 mobile. Not all Android iOS features can be converted. I think
that's why they say that if you port from iOS, there will be a little bit of work you have to do. More work than what you'd have to do if you're porting from Android.
And some of these tweaks come from if your app relies on Google Maps, but you are importing it into a Windows phone, you have to make it work on Bing Maps. But Microsoft released a thing today showing how easy. I mean, I don't know. For me, it all looks complicated, but for them, relatively speaking, it's not that much to change for a lot of these. Because iOS port uses source code, you need all source codes, including source code of libraries you use, so you need to link your apps to these source codes. And if a library uses another one, same process, can be really boring. Plus, not all these libraries are open source. He said for iOS we only saw games. XIB doesn't seem to be supported, so I like I said, I trust him on just about any of this stuff, and a lot of it's basically speaking Mandarin Chinese to me. So there are issues. I'm not claiming it's not just copy paste and it's 100%, but from what it sounds like, it's copy paste plus a little bit of work, which is a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah, I think this will really help get apps on the platform, which is kind of one of the reasons why Windows Phone hasn't kicked off. It's one of those paradoxes in which Windows Phone hasn't kicked off because there's not enough apps, but developers haven't developed the apps because there's not enough people on it. So it's a big loop. So hopefully with Windows 10 this fixes that, because I mean Windows 10 is a free upgrade to Windows 7 and Windows 8 users, and there's a lot of Windows 7 users. So if
some dude's going to be on Windows Vista and be like, yeah, but it doesn't have this one feature.
It's the most secure operating system. Why would they leave?
Yeah, I will say to some of our jump lists coming back. So there's that for you.
Jump lists are also coming back. A lot of things are coming back. I say Aero's back. Well, I say Aero. What do they call it? Frosted transparency? Frosted
That's
glass?
the see-through start menu where it's like partially, it looks like blurry glass.
Much like on Windows 7. I mean, Joe Belfiore did say on stage that they heard they wanted Aero back, so they've done this. And the taskbar and start menu, hopefully the title bars eventually, but for now, the taskbar and start menu are now sort of blurry and sexy looking.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it. I really do.
And you know what? But wait, there's more. That's not all. There's more. Because in addition to porting iOS and Android code that you can then make small, or in some cases more extensive, tweaks to make them Windows apps, you can also make Win32 and .NET programs, which I think is much less confusing than if you call them Win32 apps. But for me, so programs. They can make those into apps. I don't know a ton about how this actually works, Zach. Do you know kind of some of the more details on this?
On the Win32 stuff?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it looked pretty simple. Looked like you can just make a Win32 program into an app.
I'm not sure if they are now hosted on the store, but in Windows 8.1, it's kind of been there already. You could put developers, top-end developers at least, could list their Win32 apps on the Windows Store and then click on the product, and then they'll take them to a website in which they could download it. I'm not sure if that's changing. Maybe they are now hosted on the server store. If they're not, then this doesn't really change, but Win32 apps will now be listed more often, I guess, in the Windows Store.
Is this, the things that they've talked about, and this is true for iOS and Android, we should have mentioned this before. When you do this sort of thing, one of the goals would be that you would get the app on the platform in the first place, and then you would add things that would give it Windows-specific. It was like get you into the platform and then make a more dedicated Windows app. And with Win32 apps, that was a little bit easier, it looked like, because you took a program with a little bit of changes, you can add things. And so the goal here is, you want to add a live tile, you do that, and then it starts fitting into the platform. And so now things like, why have they been migrating towards hamburger menus? Why have they been migrating towards UI that looks relatively similar to what we see on other platforms? A lot of that makes more sense now, because you don't want it to feel like you're dual booting in the same phone or tablet. You know what I mean? Where it's like, this feels like an Android app, and now on this app it feels like a Windows app. But you want those to be as close as possible. So things like LiveTile, Cortana support, you want the developers to add that.
Yeah. I'm excited for apps to support Cortana because I like using Cortana.
Yeah, I did a whole article today on Cortana integration with apps, and it's just amazing.
Cortana just said hi to me because I said hey.
She does that. She's just getting the podcast. I don't know if that's really part of Build, but like they did have a bunch of Cortana announcements this week. They're pretty fun.
Yeah.
What they did at Build is they showed off Cortana, but we'll get into that in a sec. I just think that with these programs and stuff, like they were running full, like Adobe Photoshop, that could be an app. And one of the benefits of that was that they said about uninstalling, right, Zach?
Did they? Oh yeah, you could install and easily uninstall the app.
Which is a bit of a big deal. Sometimes for me, I download a program, and then after a while, you either don't need it or don't like it, and you uninstall it, and there's like stuff left over.
Yeah, I mean that may not change though with the Win32 stuff.
Well, that's what they said.
Did they?
They said they said like multiple times without a hassle. Wasn't that part of what they were advertising?
I guess so. Then yeah.
I think it's cool because it is nice when you just uninstall an app and it's just gone. Like there's no like zip folders or download files or anything like that.
Oh yeah, but this whole developer porting code stuff is definitely good news for the platform. I know many were like, "Oh, they can't do this. It's just going to make all the apps on Windows Phone terrible." But I think this is a start for the uprising of Windows, I guess.
As my girlfriend who wrote a guest post this week for the site said, she's looking for the glory days, the golden glory days of Windows are ahead of us. And then like the next day, they announced all this stuff. So not only is she a great writer, predicted the future, because I really think they are ahead of us now.
Yeah, this development stuff is definitely really good. We should probably move on to the other announcements, the more human announcements, I guess, for people like us who aren't developers. Project Spartan got a name.
It did? It did indeed get a name. I don't like the name, but it got one.
Do you not like the name?
Nah.
Well, the name, we're not going to tell you the name, we're just going to talk about it. So why don't you like the name?
It's silly. They should have left it with Spartan because the Cortana integration.
For those who actually don't know what it's called Microsoft Edge, using the same E logo from Internet Explorer. Well, a more updated version, I guess.
Mixed with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mixed with Sonic the Hedgehog.
I do you not agree? Like, do you like the name?
I don't mind it.
I mean, I'm not gonna not use it. I mean, it looks wonderful. Like, that's fine. I think Chrome probably sounded stupid when it first came out, and people use that. Firefox, what's that? You know, I don't understand like why names gain popularity. So I mean, I'm sure people, if they like it, they'll use it.
I'm having a hard time calling Edge anyway, because Project Spartan is just embedded in here.
Oh, you've done so many videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I saw. Let's see here. And we actually saw some more features, right, with Spartan or
Yes,
Edge. Sorry,
they demoed extension support, which they haven't actually showed off before. They did say it was coming, and they are still saying it's coming after Windows 10 RTM, so it won't be there straight away. But Edge will be able to run ported Firefox and Chrome extensions with, again, either little to no code changes.
Well, I think that's great. It's another thing where it's other people have already developed for other platforms that are really popular. Bring them in on here, and then you add it to the other cool features that we already have. And I think that's what you want. It's probably, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd want Microsoft to be so big that they didn't have to worry, I guess. But I actually think the end result is probably a bit better, because now you get extensions from Firefox and Chrome instead of just like your own. And then you also get the features that they've had to bring up to try to make Spartan look competitive. In rendering tests, it's actually doing better than Chrome and Firefox.
Yes, the performance, or what they say, the performance is outranks both Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer 11.
I'm sure it outranks Internet Explorer 11, but
hey, I use IE 11 as my default browser.
So do I, but it's, you know, like, I like Internet Explorer.
We are the 3%.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that extensions like this, like a great example, I use WhatsApp. It's wonderful because I message my family back home. And on Chrome, you can WhatsApp directly from the browser. And that's just a little, I guess that works on an extension, I guess. It only works in Chrome right now. I think they were working on opening up the Firefox. But if it's easy to port that over, bam, it's an Edge. That's great, because then you can type with a keyboard, WhatsApp my parents, and it's wonderful. So there are other ones like that. Don't use AdBlock, because, you know, I need to eat. So don't ever use an AdBlock extension on WinBeta.
All our comments are going to go, yes, let's enable AdBlock now.
I need, you know, brother's got to eat, man. Don't be blocking all the ads. That's how I get paid. Isn't that how you get paid?
No. It's not how I get paid.
In any event, yeah, I think it's great. Spartan looks great. Cortana's integration with Spartan looks great. You're browsing along and coupons show up and this and that. It's wonderful.
They showed off a couple new, a couple of improvements to Continuum on the desktop tablet side. And they also showed off Continuum on the phone PC side, which we'll talk about in a minute. But first, we're just going to talk about the sort of improved start screen. What they've done is, if you used Windows 10, the previous builds of Windows 10, on a small 8-inch tablet, using the start screen was kind of clunky and weird. Like, you had the apps list there and your tiles on the right, but your tiles like didn't fit properly. Or on my device, it didn't, at least. And the taskbar was all tiny and still and stuff. But with the upcoming builds, they don't do that no more. The start screen now uses the full screen for tiles and then a hamburger menu for the apps list, and the taskbar's still there. I don't know if you can swipe it away yet, or if you will be able to do that, but it's still there. The buttons on the bottom left are bigger, so you can use them with your fingers. And Cortana now uses the full width of the screen, the full height of the screen. So when you tap on the button, it goes all the way to the top. And then with the hamburger menu, which we actually didn't talk about, we should talk about that. Cortana now supports buttons on the left hand side, also a hamburger menu.
Right.
So yeah, a sort of improved UI for easier access to a bunch of different Cortana features. And Cortana now is more integrated, I guess, with the start menu. When you type from the start menu, the start menu sort of reforms into the animates into Cortana at least, and it just makes Cortana seem a lot more integrated with the operating system. And this was one of the big things that many insiders were requesting return, searching from the start menu, because in Windows 7 and Windows 8 you pressed start and you searched, and in the early builds of Windows 10 that didn't really change, but it just felt different because Cortana was like overlaid, and it just wasn't like the same. So they've improved upon that, and it's a lot better now. Many people are happy with the changes.
Right, and those are the UI changes for the desktop version of Windows 10, yeah?
Yeah.
And so, are there any other those? Because there are also a lot of changes for small tablets, which is a really big thing with Continuum, and we'll get into that in a sec.
Yeah, well, I did talk about the 8-inch start screen, which now uses the full width of the screen. For phones, they didn't really show off phones at Build, but that's because phones is a little bit far behind compared to the desktop. They did announce that Windows 10 for desktops will launch first, and then the other Windows 10 versions will launch later.
Right, yeah, so we're looking at summer for Windows 10 for desktops and tablets, and then probably maybe fall, you think?
Yeah,
maybe?
For small tablets and phones and so on, and Xbox probably after that, and HoloLens around wherever. Because I don't think HoloLens is coming this summer. I reckon it'll come either end of this year or sometime next year.
Well, saying even the display versions that Kip from the site got to use, they aren't like fully functional anyway.
Yeah, I don't think they're fully functional either. But
so yeah, I think the small tablet one that actually looked great, didn't it? Because I'd been complaining about like jamming your screen full of the app list, but small tablet one doesn't have that anymore, does it?
The small tablets, they didn't really show off small tablets. What they showed off was Continuum for phones, which was using your phone as a full PC. And what this is pretty much is, what they showed off was a simulation, because they don't have the hardware for it, and the software isn't actually there, I guess, to demo. So the simulation was, you plug your phone into its port, and then into a HDMI on a computer or on a monitor or something, or dock it into a dedicated dock.
Well, theoretically Miracast, yeah?
Maybe, perhaps. And with Windows 10 for phones, your devices supports Bluetooth mouse and keyboards, so you can connect a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard to your phone and then have a desktop-ish experience on a big screen. If you don't have a keyboard and mouse with you, you can use your phone as a trackpad and keyboard, which would be great for those on the go. But what this pretty much allows you to, wherever you are, set up a temporary computer, I guess, with your phone, and open up things like Word, the universal Word and PowerPoint apps, and do work on the go. So instead of using a tiny screen on a phone, you can dock it to a much larger screen and just get working. With mouse and keyboard support, it will just feel like a normal computer, and the UI is slightly different from that on the desktop. It's very similar. There's still a taskbar, although the taskbar in the simulation didn't actually show apps. I think that's more because it was a simulation more than anything. But clicking on start will give you like your start screen, but just in miniature form, so you get like the start screen where the start menu would be. It's not full screen, but that's again because you're using a mouse and keyboard. Right. And I think it's really cool. I can't wait to try it out.
Well, isn't this like we kind of laughed we did laugh last week about the idea of like a 4 GB of RAM phone, and we were like, why would you ever need that? And it's like, oh well, should have waited a week, because now you get that, because you understand if you're going to be running like Office, where you can just, obviously it's somewhat limited based on what universal apps are there and that sort of thing, but theoretically, I mean, this is moving towards using your phone as a computer, at least to some extent, where you just dock it into a monitor. And so you're going to need quite a bit of hardware for that to work. But it looked great. I mean, simulation where they're showing PowerPoint and that sort of thing. I think that's wonderful. And I'd love it if that could work with just any screen, just go around, monitor, bam, plug it in from your phone. That's really seamless. It's really nice. I think even have virtual mouse built into that if you need to use it and you don't have a Bluetooth one. So yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I reckon it's. I think I can't wait to use it. Just be able to just walk up to a dedicated station and just use your phone as a computer. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I think Continuum in general looks great. I am pretty sure they showed off Continuum for small tablets, and that looked good too. And then just it's finally coming together. It's really exciting, and that's all great. And to be blunt, it's great for like us because we're talking about like tech stuff and this menu that and jump list that and Cortana integration that. But if I have to be 100% honest, as much as all of this stuff is cool. Probably the most game-changing thing that's going to come at all doesn't have to do with the start menu, doesn't have to do with jump lists or recycle bin icons or Continuum. It's HoloLens.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching the demo with my girlfriend, and we're both sitting there, and it's just like, it's so futuristic that it almost seems like a movie. Like, it almost seems like, oh, I went to the theater and they CG'd like Ultron in there, and that's great. And it's like, no, this is real time. There's a little robot running around. You can actually have the screen follow you around. You can Skype, and then you can pin your Skype to your wall. You pin your videos over there, and it's just, it's unbelievable. I can't think of a device that's changed the game this much, it's just amazing. What are your reactions to HoloLens?
Well, my original reaction to HoloLens in January was, wow, I guess, because it was like, this was unexpected. I mean, I believe that a report or two came a day before the actual announcements where they was working on virtual reality, but I didn't think it'd be that far along and that, that amazing. And then the other day when they demoed it at Build, it was more, they were showing it off more in a real life situation, I guess, like sitting down on the sofa or the couch, right, watching TV on the wall and stuff, which is the first for them, because in January they demoed it like with like, what was it, like a building thing. They was building like a robot toy thing, like a flying thing. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, so in Build they demoed it in like a better real life situation, and that's kind of where it came to life for me, because that's how I'm going to be using it. I'm not going to be using HoloLens to build products and toys and stuff. I'm going to be using it to watch TV on a gigantic wall, or make a fishbowl or a virtual cat run around. I'm going to be doing it like just like a normal consumer, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's HoloLens. We have some revealed pricing details, I guess. I mean, a little bit. It's going to cost, quote, significantly more than a console, which starts at $400, unquote. So I don't know how much significantly more is. Could be double, triple, probably not more than triple.
It's going to be. I can't imagine it being cheap.
No, but when you think about it, what it is, gaming. Could be a completely immersive gaming environment.
I can't wait for gaming. Gaming on the HoloLens.
I'm telling you, Halo laser tag. I'll be Master Chief. You're running around. You'd be Spartan Locke, and and it would look like real life, like needler needles flying at you, but they look like they're really flying at you. It's not like a laser thing. It's just amazing. And I don't know if they can.
See, I reckon HoloLens 2 will have like needles, so if you actually get shot in a game, it pricks you a little bit. Like,
I hope not. So gaming, Minecraft, that sort of thing, entertainment, making your whole wall a screen, Skype, drawing on things on other people's Skype in the real, augmented world, and then medical. They had this great display where they showed a skeleton shows up, a body. You can zoom in, you can look at the heart, how the valves beat. You can look at a femur and the different types of breaks, and so instead of studying cadavers, they can study like a hologram version. And I can't even wrap myself around this, because you look at it and it really doesn't look real yet, because I haven't used it. But Kip used it, and
Kip thinks it's great.
He says it's not perfect, but it's there. Yeah. And it's a real thing. Like, I know him.
It is a version 1 product, though, isn't it? So they were like the Apple Watch, I guess, and the first iPhone. Why 2 Apple examples?
What? Are we really comparing the revolution of HoloLens to an Apple Watch? Well, no,
because the iPhone was the revolution to the smartphone market, wasn't it?
I bet you HoloLens cost less than some Apple Watches.
Oh yeah, definitely. Of course.
So you can have a watch, or you can
have 3 HoloLenses, or HoloLens. HoloLens.
So yeah, it's amazing. I don't think that there's a more exciting technology than HoloLens.
I tell you what though, I have heard that the hardware they used in January, or the journalists used in January, and the hardware at Build is different slightly. The hardware in January was prototype hardware, so it was hooked up to a gigantic computer that sat on your chest and so on, and the field of view, I guess, was bigger, so you could see more of the holographic stuff. But with the devices they've got at build, the field of view is smaller, and apparently it's a lot smaller. So that may be, I guess, it might make it. If they've said it seems less immersive than it did in January.
Yeah,
that's what I believe Kip said it, or someone said it. So I mean, it's not to you and me. It's not going to make a difference because we haven't tried it out yet before. We're not going to know how the original prototype was. But I guess they're lowering it, so
I'm okay if it takes some time. I'm okay if it takes some time to get this up and running.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I would be surprised if it came out. I mean, I know they said it's launching around Windows 10, like when Windows 10 stuff is happening. It's not coming in the summer. That'd be really surprising. But I would be surprised if it came this year.
Yeah, no, and I'm okay with that because, like I said, if this comes out as a flop, then it might not work. Imagine if they waited like I don't know how long, and then you could just walk into Best Buy or a Microsoft store, or PC World or whatever, and just buy one, and you could try it out in the store. Imagine how many people will go to a Microsoft store and, hey, try out HoloLens.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine that. Like and now they have Microsoft stores in more places than just North America. So there you go.
still not here though. So
nope, sorry.
Not London. And yeah, everywhere else but London.
No, Australia, Brazil, not London.
There's gonna be one in Scotland soon.
Luxembourg, Liechtenstein, everywhere but you. One in Antarctica next to that ATM machine that's there, or ATM. Yeah. M stands for machine. So I think HoloLens is great, and I think everyone on the podcast is sufficiently tired of hearing that now. But it's I actually think there's one thing that they showed at Build connected to HoloLens that they didn't talk about that I actually think companies would buy. Oh. Can you guess what it is?
No.
The camera. What do you mean? Like the broadcast quality camera, not the HoloLens itself, but the broadcast camera that actually made it appear as if the camera was wearing a HoloLens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that could be... you're right.
Can you imagine a news broadcast?
But they kind of did that anyway, right? Like ITV News are very... Oh, it's like a complete green screen room, I thought ITV News was.
Yeah. So they use green screen, which is cool. But imagine you could say, here's a live broadcast from Mars, but not really.
And walk around, I guess, like the holographic elements, which they can't.
Exactly. Do, you could film it as if it was like an on-the-scene recording of, like, oh, here's the Mars rover, and look, this is the piece that broke, or here it is singing "Happy Birthday" to itself, because apparently,
I guess that would be a big thing. I mean, I haven't seen that widely used. I mean, I guess in movies, but like Hollywood movies don't count.
But I think that would probably be a use. I hope Microsoft does in the future, because it's a camera that is like, I guess you'd have to also have your newscaster wearing a HoloLens so they could look at stuff, but that's fine. It wouldn't be every day, but I could see it like, I mean, we're talking about news where they had holographic versions of people during election coverage. Like, they're okay with weird stuff if it's cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That was a real thing, by the way. Yeah. They like computer imposed, like, where they made like a dude appear during election coverage that wasn't there.
Yeah, they did pan over to that camera, like, this is the special camera.
Right, and it had like all these wires and stuff. It looked like that first Iron Man
the guy holding it was like just covered in wires. Like, I can't really see. Maybe they're secretly trying to sell that.
Maybe, yeah. They might not want it to.
Maybe it's just like just had a sign on it with a price. Buy it.
Oh, hey, you know what? I mean, you and I are both into journalism, obviously, and I can't imagine how much fun it would be to do that.
Tell you what, with the camera, the special camera, I wonder if that means you could have multiple HoloLenses on like working together.
Well, they must have basically done that with the camera in the original HoloLens, yeah?
I'm not sure, because they haven't talked about like 2-player HoloLens, have they?
That would be probably the future of HoloLens. You'd be in the world together.
That would also be the introduction to many accidents.
No, but I mean, I could see, like, if I have a HoloLens in my house and my girlfriend was visiting, or if I was married then, and whatever, if you have a family, you would maybe want to say the TV's over there for everyone. and so you'd want them to be the same, right? You could somehow maybe link it. I don't know if maybe that's in the future, maybe not. I don't know. I would think so.
Yeah.
Zach, by the way, our live stream listeners have noticed that you are not in the live stream because I told them. So they have not taken advantage of that to make fun of you yet, but I think they will now that I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, probably. I can't. I would be in the chat, but my computer's just can't risk it. Cannot risk it because my computer will die in BSOD or something. So I've got like as minimal programs open as possible. I have Task Manager to make sure my CPU doesn't overload, and XSplit. So
wait, can I? Let me ask. Is it really? It doesn't bother you that BSOD has the same number of syllables as Blue Screen of Death?
It doesn't bother me, no.
It's got the same numbers. You're not saving any time.
It's for typing. You save time if you're typing it.
That's like people who say WW2. That's longer than saying World War II. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, listen. Just leave people alone.
Just go to www.
Go to
Everyone
World
knows
Wide
how to
Web.
go to a website, you moron. Like, you don't...
Not everybody.
Some people, yeah, you go to https:/. Shut up. We know how to go to a website, but people, they love long, bringing out these acronyms, long distance, whatever. But anyway, hard to be angry today. We have news. We have build. Windows is fixed. All the apps will be here. The app gap will be closed in like 3 months. Everything's fixed. HoloLens will be here. Augmented reality. Everything's fixed.
I can't believe you actually got that stuff.
I did, yeah, I did. I just went to the store with my girlfriend right before and picked up some.
Sean messaged me last night and he said, "I've got an idea for tomorrow's podcast." I said, "Oh God." What's your idea? And he said, "Do you have any balloons?" I said, "No."
I'm still, yeah.
So instead, I made that short intro for us that took like 20 minutes to make.
Well, there you go.
Over the last month, we were filming that.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Sure, it was.
Even though those balloons were behind Sean for the entire month, it doesn't matter. He had them there. We knew this was going to happen.
Oh, they caught us now. I even didn't use my new phone because it wasn't here a month ago. But, yeah. Whew. Is there any more news we want to talk about related to Build?
I don't actually know. I mean, we're not very good at the developer stuff, are we? This is a developer conference. We are not developer people. I have a feeling the comments have been shouting at us for not getting developer stuff right. They probably have been.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. Actually, the only correction was they did show off small tablet Continuum.
I must have blinked.
That's like the only thing.
You could talk about that then, because I don't remember.
Yeah, because it I think it looked where it basically. It didn't. You know how right now the tablet mode start screen takes over like the left side of your screen with all the list of your apps?
Yeah, that was for 8 inches. That wasn't for small tablets. Small tablets is the phone.
What's your definition of? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Because small tablets is below 8 inches.
Okay, well,
and they showed off Windows running on an 8-inch tablet. So
okay,
that was the desktop SKU.
Okay, you're right.
Maybe they did. I'm sure the comments will let us know, or we can let you know, so I can't see them.
We'll see. We'll edit it. Whatever. No.
Yeah. We probably would have to edit it if they did actually show it off. I'll put a screenshot of it if they did.
Yeah. So there's that for Build. I'm sure there's lots more news. I mean, to be honest, we only have about an hour. We try to make this 50 minutes to an hour.
This is considerably short today. I think we started at like 5 to 8, and it's only 25 to 9.
So I'm trying to think other Build related stuff, and then if we have a little extra time, I have a couple other non-Build related things we could squeeze in here too.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Did we talk about the Silverlight thing from Rudy?
Yeah, sure.
Did we talk about that already or not? Because I know
no, we haven't yet. So Rudy, our good friend here, who at this point is like an honorary member of this podcast based on how much he's been on here, he said that he's made a new program that allows you to convert Silverlight apps into Universal Windows apps. I believe it's called Univerlight. Let's see here. I'm trying to get to his specific Twitter here. So yeah, it's called Univerlight. He said in short, it's to actually just port it in there. It's another example of porting things. So this is like, I don't know, this is probably the best fix for Windows Phone you could possibly or Windows platform as a whole that you could possibly have, right?
I guess for those who developed for Silverlight, I mean, his tool says it like little to no code. Again, it's always little to no code changes.
Well, I don't mean this specifically alone isn't. I'm saying the idea of porting is probably one of the best things that can happen to the platform.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because I think that when you have that, I mean, there are Windows developers that are great. I mean, I love some of the Windows developers that we've talked to and that we know and that we cover and that sort of thing. But we don't have an unlimited supply of Windows developers. There are thousands and thousands of them, but just some are exclusive to iOS and Android, and some of them maybe are used to one code language over another.
And some just don't want to port their apps, like Snapchat.
Well, that's a thing. Do we need to get more into Snapchat?
No, we shouldn't. Let's stop giving them high time.
Yeah. So there's that. So yeah, I think that's great. I think porting is probably going to be one of the biggest changes to this. I will be honestly upset if someone like Bank of America, who does not have a Windows app anymore, takes it down, and just doesn't. Like, I would be so upset if they don't do this and make an app, because there is now so little work involved compared to what it once was. To sit there and say we still don't care about you as a platform, that really upset me.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Them pulling out, maybe sometime with the recent announcements, maybe they pulled them because they knew what was coming. Maybe, or I guess they didn't know. So
why wouldn't you wait then?
I don't know why they'd pull them.
I actually did hear there were some banking security changes that maybe this is the reason they did that.
Probably, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I've contacted Bank of America directly. I have contact with one of the. I haven't gotten any news back on this now. I think they're probably still deciding. I mean, it's not like Bank of America knew before we did about this. I'd imagine. So, yeah. But yeah, we had an article about how easy it is, and it really is. Like, they show you. Like, if you want to actually find the article, we'll link all these. Well, maybe not everyone that we mentioned, but Project Astoria, how easy it looks to port Android apps to Windows 10. And I mean, they show you. I mean, there's the same woman that did in the keynote shows you what it's like to port it, and it's comparing an app running on the Nexus 6 running Android and the Lumia 1520 running Windows.
I like the demo they did with the Objective-C with the app, the Apple's like numbers app, and I was like, so they were doing it, and then they did it wrong. So it's like, let's actually do the correct equation: 9 take away 9 equals 0 apples, and he got an achievement for it. No apples. It's quite funny.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can link it to.
And on the day 2 keynote, one of the presenters, I can't remember his name. He was there, a few other builds as well. He mentioned that he was talking to Bill Gates about Windows 10 when they were first planning it out, and how they wanted to bring back this evolutionary feature from 1985, also known as Windows. And he's like, we should have, in real reality, we should have called Windows 8 Window 8. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, no, I agree that there are a lot of things. The future's bright for Windows.
The future is bright, and hopefully developers pick up. If consumers pick it up, developers will pick it up, and everybody wins.
Yeah. So is that all our build news, Zach? Because we don't need to just keep them on here for nothing.
Yeah, I think that's all our build news. Like I said, we're not going to dive into the developer stuff or the Azure stuff, because that's not our cup of tea.
Not our wheelhouse. Oh, not our. Hold on, Zach. Hold on. It's not our what? What'd you say?
It's not our cup of tea, Sean.
I actually don't drink tea. I herbal tea sometimes, but in any event, but there is a teacup there. Okay, well, that's probably it for the build news, and this is a build podcast. There is a bunch of other news, but we're not going to. We should
probably mention a couple of other things that came out from this week. Build 10,074 came from Build. Oh, I say it came from Build. It leaked previously, leaked before Build, but it was the build coming from Build. So it was what I like to call the build.
The build.
And Build 10,074 includes They did demo at build a few changes to the start menu and the lock screen, which aren't apparent in. I think the lock screen changes are apparent in build 10,074.
Yeah, like ads.
Yeah, like you can you can enable it. I know you've been able to not ads. Well, yeah, it's actually saying that sort of ads. You could enable them previously on the lock screen, so you could see like not interested. Yeah, I like this, and they'll give you like different lock wallpapers and stuff. But on the start menu, they showed off suggestions, like suggested apps, which technically is advertising other apps in the start menu, which you can turn off. Because there is an option in build 10,074 to turn it on and off, but it doesn't actually work.
Oh.
So if you right click on the taskbar, select properties, and go to start menu, you'll see it. But if they might remove that option, you never know. But they've moved the file explorer settings and I think documents from the top to the bottom, and jump lists are enabled by default in the build they showed off at build, which I think was 10105. Yeah, so build 10,074 doesn't include those changes yet, which they will be pushed out to insiders at a later date, I assume. Not only that, but Microsoft missed their deadline for a new Windows 10 for Phones build, which was supposed to include the Word preview, or the new store beta, which would allow you to download the new Office Universal apps. And yeah, so they missed the deadline. It's coming sometime next week, and might include the improved start menu, which is ridiculously buggy. And yeah, so I think that is pretty much all the important stuff for this week.
Sorry.
I bored Sean there. I bore everyone though, so.
I should have balloons every podcast.
Guess what? I'm just happy that we got through this podcast about my PC dying.
That's true. Shameless plug, because this is our podcast, yeah?
No, it's not.
My girlfriend guest wrote an article for the site this week. 15,000 views.
Yeah, do you know why?
If you say it's because she's a woman, I'm going to say it's because she's a good writer.
I'll let the comments decide.
I actually, we'll tell the full story later. It's a good article. Some people probably click his girlfriend's in the title.
Well, the original title was, what was it?
Guest posts.
Yeah.
Something like
a guest.
that.
Nobody wants to read stories from a guest.
But now when it's a girlfriend. When it's Reddit goes woman, crazy.
It's a different story. Reddit loves it. So
everybody go read Leah's post. But in any event,
it's a good read. I read it.
Well, there you go. Oh, all right. Well, I guess that's it for the WinBeta podcast for our special build edition for the week of May 1st. 2015. I'm Sean Michael. You can find me on Twitter at Sean_Michael_UK. And the other host of the show is Zach.
You can find me at ZachB_. Annoyingly, haven't got at Zach Bowden or at Zach.
Yeah. What you say? You know, people don't use these Twitter handles, but you can't take them.
Yeah, Zach Bowden's not even in use. And I bet it was me. I just don't remember the login details.
Probably from like your email from like when you were 5 or like 15 or 12 or something like that. And as always, you can follow winbeta.org either on Twitter at winbeta.org, so winbeta.org but spelled out, or on YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn, the website itself, obviously, for all the latest and greatest Windows and Microsoft related news. And let's see, is there any other social media? You can, share our stuff on Reddit and Tumblr and
as per usual, we will be like live streaming for a bit after this for the live listeners. But Sean will be reading the questions because I can't see them.
Yeah. All right. So in terms for the live podcast and for all those listening in through the rebroadcast, we appreciate it, and we will close out now, and we will see you on the next one.
Bye.